Welcome to another video in the Twitch Tech series. This time I'm just going to show you what I do personally to check the quality of a stream while streaming.
achieve with it. But as an artist, I always look back and I see so many things that we could improve.
There was always that 2% that we wanted to increase.
하나의 큰 그림을 해서 좀 더 한 단계 더 발전한
kind of collects our thoughts on what the core pillars of the new Erangel should be. It's retro Russia, it's an abandoned island, and there's
이신 분들 어떤 방식과 이런 것들이 다 다르다 보니까 저도 처음에는 개발자니까 뭐 다 똑같은 거 아니라고 생각했는데 그게 좀 많은 부분이 다른 부분이 있었어요 실제로.
So it was a challenge to work together because we also had different visions for creating the map.
so it's tough. It's not easy, but we all know that we're trying to come together to make something great, and anything that's worth doing is hard.
With trial and error most of the times, and a lot of meetings, lots of conversations, but at the end, everything worked out perfectly.
이미 에란겔 맵이 제가 제작을 했지만 제 게 아니더라고요. 이미 유저들 거고.
Now that we've got these rosters mixed up a little bit, communication's not going to be as crisp as we're used to. So these solo pushes, these like nice aggressive plays that we might be seeing from Russia or Valiate or Zampa over in North America that they're known for could be quite big.
And I suppose that's where it comes down to testing yourselves, getting in the waters, throwing yourself down. There are many. One is about to get underway where these teams are going straight off the bat.
He's just trying to figure out a little bit of is going to be a little bit calm off the get-go, but nobody knows how this could lay out. We can see there is a clump of people going right over Chumasera right now. That looks like that's Japan and Turkey. Naturally, we also have get a little bit of attention as
Stats now. Remember, we are only and you go down in 16th, you're losing points early. Initial, we said this, contact could be made potential. It is Japan and Turkey. They meet. At the moment, I think the initial one might be Mur here.
Japan's got the guns. You can see they're just on the hunt. Turkey is going to be
Down to the south. This up early on, and you go to the Nations Cup 2019 champion starts now. Remember, we are only 3 days of this competition. There is only 15 games. If you muck this up early on and you go down in 16th, you're losing points early. Initial, we said this, contact could be made potential. It is Japan and Turkey. They meet. They're on the far side down to the south, more towards the Kumasiri side. You have the high side, you have the low side. At the moment, I think the initial one might be Mur here.
Japan's got the guns. You can see they're just on the hunt. Turkey is going to be the first blood of this event. But I think everybody else from Turkey is already on the run, trying to separate out as much as they can.
If I'm not mistaken, this did actually happen, the same scenario in the scrims. Japan took the high side, Turkey got the low, and they were forced down. They had to back out from this.
Oh, that
screen,
circle.
I'm just seeing...
Look at that. That is far up towards the northeast. Look at the cluster of the teams. Everybody jumped really, really early, so that means it's going to be some very messy rotations coming into play.
Okay, we do have the fight down in the bottom left. We will keep tabs on it, but something I want to touch on with that circle. Who's in the central point? It's going to be Germany. And guess what? Germany is a full squad, and that's where they usually go.
Oh my God, that is going to make it so rough for so many of these teams that are going to be rotating through. We can see that it's been a little bit of an interesting start for everybody, but a lot of these teams have managed to carve out their own specific location. Looking back over at Thailand right now, we're talking about Duckmans. This guy put on a show, but Minoru is a guy we have got to keep an eye on as well. That guy is absolutely fire right now.
We'll have a quick discussion about where teams are. We can see the map, so we'll just try and break this one down further. You saw that initial contact was made. Japan, Turkey around just above Kumasira side, where the silos are down below them. We do see, or at least I can see on the map, Finstrike is lurking. We call them Finstrike. It's the Windstrike meme, but it's actually Finland. We'll go with that one. We'll keep going with the countries just in case you don't watch the PL, you don't know how things go down. But Finland is lurking in the distance. Picado, it has been taken over by Korea. They are plumb center. They're happy for now. Los Leones, Argentina. They've got a good old foothold inside that town. No one's really going to do much in there because that'll be locked down. But if you do want to rotate all the way down in the south, if you want to take that coastal road, you have to be very, very careful. There are two teams side by side, Matron. We see Russia and we see China. They're causing a bit of a blockade. It looks like USA, from my angle, are actually taking the western side, so they'll avoid that. But this is the scenario that I was just speaking about.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a setup. You can see that Kimba's taking a little bit of damage back on this. China feels like they're feeling pretty aggressive about this. They have a nice angle. Godby's up to the side of it. But Summer's just got a feed right back over on Kimba, and that's going to be a easy down coming out for Summer.
He had a bullet in the side of the helmet. You could see the mark, and he finds a second one. Kemba goes down. That should be initial follow-up. 1 point moves to China. They will claim the first scalp all the way down to the south. So now Russia, I can see them just backing off. They have to be very careful, though, because as they rotate, I do see Chinese Taipei lingering in the distance. So provided they're careful on that route, they will pretty survive this one. But with 3 players, it's going to be difficult, because that circle is going to be a hell of a traverse upwards.
I mean, this area in general can just be kind of messy, depending on how you have to make your ways through it. Naturally, we do have Germany, we were talking about, very centered up, but looks like we've got Canada on the move right next to Basil. Is he going to find the angle for it? Going to take a couple of shots, not going to connect with a lot. That's going to get a little bit of damage onto the vehicle, but it looks like Maluk is going to make it back off onto the hills. You can see Moody immediately stopped on that and is going to reposition around.
The call didn't come through quick enough. Can't have hurt the vehicle just in time, otherwise he would have moved onto that roadside. The 16, yes, it's not a full automatic AR, so you're always going to have a difficult one. It does kick like a donkey at times when you're spraying away with it, but certainly a warning comes through from Maluk. Gets away with his life. Didn't even think they were attacking it, to be honest. So happy days for now. El Pozo, you can see just on the western side, that's where USA will take their route. They'll go up to the north, maybe potentially kick it in around La Coberteria and punch it in potentially again somewhere around Tornio Ada. You see Cruz de Val as well. You do have that hillside that they could, which will provide them cover. Water treatment will be hot. People have to be careful of this. If you're going to make an entry point in the western side of that circle, you will have several teams. Team Great Britain, they're plumb center of that scenario which I was speaking about. Korea just below them. Thailand's there as well, and so is Australia around the water treatment. It depends what Australia do. If they move and play border control, then they will catch these teams that are rotating more towards the northern side of the circle.
We've got Canada that's kind of encroaching back over next to where we can see Vietnam did make the stop over for it. Luke is up on the high ground from this, looking back down. It looks like he fed the information over. So we have Canada kind of creating a line, looking back over towards 2 members of Vietnam. The other 2 members look like they're doing a little bit of a rotation out around and might be creeping up back behind the other side of Canada.
Cautiously for now. Already been warned. More shots coming through onto Drassel. I mean, it's dangerous because you are downwind of this fight and there are only 2 men. At 50% your capacity, you are going to be taking a fight on a deficit side.
And it's right in the center, and there's going to be so many teams rotating through.
The problem is Canada have problems of their own. He's seen that. He definitely saw that the grenade was transitioned through. They're going to start to pull back. I think Silzen's saying, okay, we don't want nothing to do with this. We'll just force ourselves back. So Canada holds its ground. They've got 2 teams though either side, and that's what they have to be careful of on the next rotation. Learn where these people are. Make sure they keep a track of them. Just don't let them wander away and hide away, because then when you move forward off the back of this transition, you could be running into an open trap.
He's in a, looks like he realized he was in a little bit of trouble. Reels did have an angle back over for it, so Pio's just going to get back out of there. And it feels like everybody's got a really good amount of information gathering at this stage.
Oh my.
Michael takes a couple of shots. It looks like he regrets that real quick.
There was a warning shot that came through from Reels, but as you mentioned, Michael did get a warning one back. The pan potentially could have saved him. Oh, China again with a second one. This time it's on to Japan. So Japan, the team that picked up the first frag, they do lose a player. Gabba goes down at December 12th. He finds one. SLR, bullet to the brain, confirms it. Job done. 1 point to them. China at the moment, let's have a look at their position on the map. Where are they? Okay, so they're quite far, to be fair.
Yeah,
Turkey, Brazil, Russia. There are so many teams still outside the circle up against the blue.
I mean, this could be very, very messy for a couple of these guys. Brazil looked like they were often going up towards the north. This is... And they have Germany back down the hillside that might look back around here, go for a couple of shots. So now, you know, at this stage of the game, when you're committing to shack life, you've got some problems ahead of you.
Yeah, this is not good.
Man,
If another team,
Duckman's looking back down that angle too.
my worry is that if another team get wind of this, the fact that is a hop, skip, and a jump is Germany. One player just runs across and posts a grenade in that building there. Oh, gone Zampa. Leo finds him and instas him. That's a flush and a half. Bye-bye, Zampa. 1 point picked up. Chinese Taipei. Leo, thank you very much. Drassel and the rest of the boys are on the hillside here. Canada still standing strong. They do have a line of sight on some of these battles.
Every event, it's always North America versus North America as they post up against each other. So
Chinese
Canada looking back over towards USA. But we do have
achieve with it. But as an artist, I always look back and I see so many things that we could improve.
There was always was always that 2% that we wanted to increase.
Right down in the bottom left, we will keep tabs on it, but something I want to touch on with that circle, who's in the central point? It's going to be Germany. And
With
guess
the
what?
one
Germany is a full squad, and that's where they usually go.
Oh my God, that is going to make it so rough for so many of these teams that are going to be rotating through. We can see that it's been a little bit of an interesting start for everybody, but a lot of these teams have managed to carve out their own specific location. Looking back over at Thailand right now, we're talking about Duckmans. This guy put on a show, but Minoru is a guy we have got to keep an eye on as well. That guy is absolutely fire right now.
We'll have a quick discussion about where teams are. We can see the map, so we'll just try and break this one down further. You saw that initial contact was made. Japan, Turkey around just above Kumasira side, where the silos are down below them. We do see, or at least I can see on the map, Finstrike is lurking. We call them Finstrike. It's the Windstrike meme, but it's actually Finland. We'll go with that one. We'll keep going with the countries just in case you don't watch the PL, you don't know how things go down. But Finland is lurking in the distance. Picado, it has been taken over by Korea. They are plumb center. They're happy for now. Los Leones, Argentina. They've got a good old foothold inside that town. No one's really going to do much in there because that'll be locked down. But if you do want to rotate all the way down in the south, if you want to take that coastal road, you have to be very, very careful. There are two teams side by side, Matchroom. We see Russia and we see China. They're causing a bit of a blockade. It looks like USA, from my angle, are actually taking the western side, so they'll avoid that. But this is the scenario that I was just speaking about.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a setup. You can see that Kimba's taking a little bit of damage back on this. China feels like they're feeling pretty aggressive about this. They have a nice angle. Godby's up to the side of it. But Summer's just got a feed right back over on Kimba, and that's going to be a easy down coming out for Summer.
He had a bullet in the side of the helmet. You could see the mark, and he finds a second one. Kemba goes down. That should be initial follow-up. 1 point moves to China. They will claim the first scalp all the way down to the south. So now Russia, I can see them just backing off. They have to be very careful, though, because as they rotate, I do see Chinese Taipei lingering in the distance. So provided they're careful on that route, they will pretty survive this one. But with 3 players, it's going to be difficult, because that circle is going to be a hell of a traverse upwards.
I mean, this area in general can just be kind of messy, depending on how you have to make your ways through it. Naturally, we do have Germany, we were talking about, very centered up, but looks like we've got Canada on the move right next to Basil. Is he going to find the angle for it? Going to take a couple of shots, not going to connect with a lot. That's going to get a little bit of damage onto the vehicle, but looks like Maluk is going to make it back off onto the hills. You can see Moody immediately stopped on that and is going to reposition around.
The call didn't come through quick enough. Can't have hurt the vehicle just in time, otherwise he would have moved onto that roadside. The 16, yes, it's not a full automatic AR, so you're always going to have a difficult one. It does kick like a donkey at times when you're spraying away with it, but certainly a warning comes through from Maluk. Gets away with his life. Didn't even think they were attacking it, to be honest. So happy days for now. El Pozo, you can see just on the western side, that's where USA will take their route. They'll go up to the north, maybe potentially kick it in around La Coberteria and punch it in potentially again somewhere around Tornio Ada. You see Cruz de Val as well. You do have that hillside that they could, which will provide them cover. Water treatment will be hot. People have to be careful of this. If you're going to make an entry point in the western side of that circle, you will have several teams. Team Great Britain, they're plumb center of that scenario which I was speaking about. Korea just below them. Thailand's there as well, and so is Australia around the water treatment. It depends what Australia do. If they move and play border control, then they will catch these teams that are rotating more towards the northern side of the circle.
We've got Canada that's kind of encroaching back over next to where we can see Vietnam did make the stop over for it. Luke is up on the high ground from this, looking back down. It looks like he fed the information over. So we have Canada kind of creating a line, looking back over towards 2 members of Vietnam. The other 2 members look like they're doing a little bit of a rotation out around and might be creeping up back behind the other side of Canada.
Cautiously for now. Already been warned. More shots coming through onto Drassel. I mean, it's dangerous because you are downwind of this fight and there are only 2 men. At 50% your capacity, you are going to be taking a fight on a deficit side.
And it's right in the center, and there's going to be so many teams rotating through.
The problem is Canada have problems of their own. He's seen that. He definitely saw that the grenade was transitioned through. They're going to start to pull back. I think Silzen's saying, okay, we don't want nothing to do with this. We'll just force ourselves back. So Canada holds its ground. They've got 2 teams there either side, and that's what they have to be careful of on the next rotation. Learn where these people are. Make sure they keep a track of them. Just don't let them wander away and hide away, because then when you move forward off the back of this transition, you could be running to an open trap.
He's in a looks like he realized he was in a little bit of trouble. Reels did have an angle back over for it, so Pio's just going to get back out of there. And it feels like everybody's got a really good amount of information gathering at this stage. Michael takes a couple of shots. Looks like he regrets that real quick.
It was a warning shot that came through from Reels, but as you mentioned, Michael did get a warning one back. The pan potentially could have saved him. Oh, China again with a second one. This time it's on to Japan. So Japan, the team that picked up the first frag, they do lose a player. Gabba goes down at December 12th. He finds one. SLR, bullet to the brain, confirms it. Job done. 1 point to them. China at the moment, let's have a look at their position on the map. Where are they? Okay, so they're quite far, to be fair.
Yeah,
Turkey, Brazil, Russia. There are so many teams still outside the circle up against the blue.
I mean, this could be very, very messy for a couple of these guys. Brazil looked like they were
they're running
opting
into
going up towards the north. This is going to get really messy really quickly. Turkey is not taking any shots right now. I think that they're aware that they have a couple of teams around them, and it's really risky. No! Your vehicle's running off on you, man. The beautiful death's just watching it roll away. Gonna run right over there next to the Brazil.
If he wasn't going to shoot at the Matrim and give away his position, at least the car will now. He's given up the game. I suppose it could be just a 9,000 IQ player, which gives him some defense. He will watch them in the distance.
See,
Are
it
you
looks
gonna
like
go for that?
it looks like 4 players, right? Whenever the vehicle's rolling down and there's a guy walking, see, it's 2 guys, not just one that's going to take those shots back over there.
Sixmo switches.
Switch.
I love it.
Oh man, this is a real aggressive early game. I mean, no surprise coming out from China. These guys are known for very aggressive early games.
We have seen in PL, it was actually Uber, funnily enough, onto Skoom, the seat switch was just disgusting. Drive by outside of the passenger with an AR, you love to see it. Does go for the style points, I'll give you that. Why not? A doozy. In the distance, do see the vehicle feeding all this information back.
This is in the blue.
Just about to touch on that. I'm assuming you're wondering why, and I am too. But then again, if they are fighting off the back of losing a player quite early on, you're always going to be feeling it. It does a lot to your mental stability, and you want to let players maybe go central of this circle first. This circle is prone to be the biggest hardship. Well, I say you don't really know prone to be the biggest, but if there is going to be a massive hardship, it's in this initial one. Sometimes going central can be your downfall, because once you're trying to get out the middle of the pack, if you do have to go to the edge, then you have so many teams just stacked up on a brick wall in front of you.
But the problem with it is if the circle does go center, now you have nowhere to go because everybody is just set and locked into position. You can see Finland's doing a little drive-by next USA. This is way up way up to the north. But it's still back down to the south. Looks like Russia and China did finally manage to separate out a little bit. Japan's making their way into the circle as well. And there is that duo up center that we were talking about. I gotta say, this is not looking too comfortable for Russia or China.
Yeah, this is the main issue now. What side of the map are you on? How do you make an entry point here? Because this will be a border protected circle. The north looking quite good, but certainly open. It's not without its own downfall if you do come in through Thierry Bronco, which I'm already seeing Jempty scouting that out. You would expect to see Jempty. Does it face plant Team Liquid? I'm thinking old times. I'm seeing him. I'm seeing him with Mexi these days, so he's just rolling back the years a little bit there. Either way, he is the scout. He likes to go off and do his own thing, call out a position, and certainly a man who can when it comes to finding a team, fighting up against them. He can take his own battles and pick them if needed, but he will find a place for the rest of Finland to come down and follow. Cruz de Val still holds USA just to the left-hand side. Turkey, Japan, and China. Still Russia as well. Nowhere near the circle.
One thing I want to point out is we do see Korea playing right against the edge of the circle right now. Looks like they were potentially trying to hunt down a couple of kills, trying to get something off of rotation. But, I mean, with the way we have everything set up, everybody is trying to rotate fairly late. Usually in competitive PUBG, we see a lot of very early rotations. It feels like everybody is still just trying to get the measure of the map and figure out where everybody's going. Finally, Germany is regrouping because they've been in control of this location for quite a while, now making their way back down around El Halza.
Yeah, the regroup here for Germany will be good for the simple fact they're in a 2-1-1 split. So if anyone pulls up on these priority compounds that they're holding, they could just... You okay, Chris?
Well, you say that, but I mean, they got Finland coming up back behind them, and that's going to be a little bit dangerous. But hey, look, China finally made it out of the blue.
That's the reason they're pulling away from El Azhar, to be fair. I suppose in case it does hatch it to the side, you don't want to get locked inside that city.
Oh no, Japan.
And they do have the 2-1-1, which I suppose it gives them more options if they do want to regroup at a different location, or even just for a point of moving once the circle does shift. USA's in, as you mentioned. Turkey is in the next compound that we will see China and Japan. We could have a three-way here match, and we've got one team directly in front of them. They head towards Turkey's compound. This could be dangerous. This will also give the information to Team GBR. Great Britain is on the edge of this circle where all these teams are going to make an end. They're actually gatekeeping the road. This could be some points for Great Britain should these teams be actually floodgating towards them.
The problem with it is Japan is actually in the buggy. I was going to say, say that is just dangerous, man. Being on the back of that thing and running through two different teams, now making their way back over next to Great Britain. We see Deb trying to make around the side of that. I think he's going to be on the other side of that rock, but I think Turkey still has an angle back for this. But you can see it's a little bit of a shift. It's getting a little bit violent. Japan takes one loss inside that. That's super dangerous. Turkey still looking back over towards China.
It's a rather unorthodox position to be fair. You want to expect Turkey to be in a compound, basically camping it down while the blue is on the back. So it is rather unorthodox, but it has worked, and it's picked him up a point or two, I believe. Two indeed a beautiful death, and Ira one apiece. I suppose that's better off as well, because actually they've got some slight revenge there onto Japan, because they were the ones that got the initial frag on them and took their player away from them. Depp, the last man standing.
I mean, a little bit of vengeance, down to one guy now, and so now Depp has just got the entirety of his country's pride on his back. And you can see there's just people driving around. This is so nerve-wracking. He's gonna go for the shots back over towards Cairo, and that's just gonna draw a lot of attention. Are we gonna see them stop? Look at this. That's a lot of damage back over towards Depp, and that's gonna be it. Japan is the first team out.
It's a questionable play. I'm stunned he went for that. In a one versus any scenario, when you're on your own like that, you want to be playing for placement. Why go for them? They're all happily accept a battle. You're just going to go for the refrag. They're all close together. If you are going to go for that scenario and try and pick up one individual player, then maybe go for the last one and not the one that's going to keep coming forward, because he has support. They accept the challenge. They get out the car. And unfortunately, Japan, they are gone. 16th place, game number 1. Turkey do make it in. Great Britain along the roadside. And while that was all going down the circle, it has shifted to the west.
Couple of shots going back down next to Argentina. As they're taking a little bit of damage, but I think he's going to make it back behind that. Yep, so it should be perfectly comfortable there. So these are just hello bullets at this point. I don't see any downs coming out from it. But one thing to note is not inside the circle. So Brazil is actually posted up inside of it, so it has to keep an eye on it.
Matchroom, we've just seen on the map. It looks like Australia has turned up USA. We've already seen the grenades cycling through the hands of the players. The bombardment does begin. This is a compound fight. All 4 players up on both sides, respectively.
And I love this. We haven't had a chance to really talk about Australia, but these guys have been on a roll lately. This is a very strong team in and of itself. So USA looking back over towards Australia, it looks like everything's kind of calmed down for a second.
Look, Matt, you're from the USA side. Talk to me about these individual players. Who kind of text pointed? Who's your sniper? Who's your marksman? What are you looking from these individuals?
It's really hard to say in this configuration because we have seen Valier and Zampa both kind of pull off these really interesting flank positions before. So with this, I wouldn't be surprised if we see, I can see Zampa coming back into the vehicle off the side of this. Looks like he was trying to go for an offsides position, but also Sharky's been known for that. So at what point, whenever you have a Team USA that's known for a whole bunch of flankers, who's kind of the one guy that stays in the center? I'm venturing to say it's probably going to be Baja that's posted up over there. But look at this. We also have Finland looking back over next to China, and that could be a very interesting fight to get started on.
China caught off guard ever so slightly in a 2-2 split. There is a compound in front of them, a priority one for that, especially with this kind of circle. They could take residency in, but they have to regroup, which they are doing. Get the resources together. Uber.
Gotta be super careful.
Just pulled up here, nade up and over. It's ticked, it's cooked. 2 are there as well, but they go too far. Silson not that damage, about 40% HP. The second one falls through. They think they've gone down to the south. He's not. He's further up close and personal.
I really love that. You felt Silson had an idea on where these grenades were going to go. Went ahead and abandoned, started making his way up. Taking a couple of shots back to the side of this, but now out inside the blue, this big damage is going to start to stack up. Russia's trying to get a couple of shots back over. You can see the grenades are prepped, but they're going to bounce very interestingly.
Matt, I'm really sorry I have to break you off. Aduzi's behind them. Aduzi is right behind them on the opposing side of the road. They've no idea. If he gets over in time, he's quite split from the rest of the pack, but if he gets here in time, he can pick up some big points.
Luba's going for the spray back over on Argentina. At least 2 of their members managed to make it away. Are we going to see this next vehicle make it through? A couple of shots going to go through, and it's going to be Brazil that actually saves Argentina, getting a couple of shots back over towards it.
That's into the graveyard. They're third party in this one. The circle's been favourable to them. It does shift more towards the southeast. Graveyard's still in. Everywhere else kind of open. Thailand, they are looking happy. Not quite centre of the map, but damn near it. Uber goes down to the blue. That was a knock that came through. Brazil, Argentina, further afield. Russia, my pick of the tournament is gone. 15th place for them. Rather unfortunate. Caught between a rock and a hard place. Argentina from behind, Brazil in front. Now, the circle, it condenses. Luke 12. Unfortunately, Australia's dream machine, the man, the myth, the legend, has fallen to Miraku. He's been confirmed and cleaned up. Team GBR, they're just teetering on the edge of the circle. Everyone else, unfortunately, including Australia, is getting ahead of the game in front of them.
Finland does manage to make it back through Great Britain and gets into a nice position, but they do have Australia next to them. We still have 54 people alive at this stage of the game, and you can see there's not a lot of space to work with. Finland looks like they might be in a little bit of trouble, as at least 2 different teams have angles to look back over towards them, and they have Germany back down the hillside that might look back around here, go for a couple of shots. So now, you know at this stage of the game, when you're committing to Shadow Life, you've got some problems ahead of you.
Yeah, this is not good.
Man,
If another team-
Duckman's looking back down that angle too.
My worry is that if another team get wind of this, the fact that it's a hop, skip, and a jump is Germany. One player just runs across and posts a grenade in that building there. Oh, gone Zampa. Leo finds him and instas him. That's a flush and a half. Bye-bye, Zampa. 1 point picked up. Chinese Taipei. Leo, thank you very much. Grassel and the rest of the boys are on the hillside here. Canada still standing strong. They do have a
What is
line
it?
of sight on some of these battles.
Every event, it's always North America versus North America as they post up against each other. So
Chinese
Canada
gone.
looking back over towards USA. But we do have Chinese Taipei right around that same location. Australia is also posted up right over around a similar location next to Korea and Great Britain, who is still just gatekeeping out. So really, we're at that stage of Miramar where everybody's just trying to get into these little ravines to find these little sneaky paths. And it looks like USA is in a little bit of trouble, is at least trying to get the res back over here, and Valiate off on the other side, not even in the safe zone yet.
I'll tell you who is in trouble. China, Korea, and Great Britain are looking directly at them. They need to make their way out of the compound. The Blues on the back. They have to move. Keep an eye on that kill feed, because honestly, I think we'll be seeing them go down any second. I'm just seeing Tracer Fire laying down from afar. Summer, he's been caught on December 12th, knocks himself out, jumps out the vehicle, they're all falling. Michael cleans up the kill, picks up Summer. 1 point moves towards him, 2 now for Great Britain. Pio, though, he smells blood. Korea, they want to get involved in this, because those players out in the blue for them, unless they give it up and deny points to other. Stolen!
I was
Okay.
expecting that when you can see both guys had moved back down there. Pio was looking on one angle, Michael on another. China is just locked down. Godvi is on no life, just trying to stay alive. Nope, he's not even going to get that off. Now it's just Mad 98, and this is bad. There is nowhere to go, man.
I mean, what can you do here? You don't want to run out of there, because all you're going to do is just give points to your opponents. You know there's a full wall of 2 teams there, so you just need to sit it out and hope to God one team dies before you.
Oh, but look, Pio. Is he going for a reposition? Has he given up and said, okay, we know China's going to die, and looking back now next to Great Britain, he might have a high ground angle onto it. USA finding themselves in a little bit of trouble. Look back on the hillside, already has 1 member down and out, so that's now everything on Baja's back as he's just trying to throw down a smoke, get something out of this, at least time to get some meds up, but Leo's back around on this angle. I mean, it's just Baja at this stage now.
K-Mines came in and just whipped that one up, so Sharky actually moves the point towards him. Canada, smell this one. There's blood in the water, they want more. China's gone 14th place. Great Britain moving onwards. Turkey now to fall. Argentina, I was worried about them, but honestly, it's not a big deal. They're doing well. 6 more, he goes down as well. That's an instant confirmation of the knock from earlier on. The USA, you did just see fall, and looking for some number 13. Australia, they have made contact with Thailand. This is the main compound that's still inside this circle. Great Britain now have Korea directly behind them.
Oh, here we go, Korea making that push that we were talking about beforehand. Reels back on one angle, very aware of it, throwing out the grenades, trying to get a little bit more space. Has to be very, very cautious, especially when you're playing on these Miramar hills. When you throw out those grenades, they're gonna bounce. They're gonna roll back down that hillside. Great Britain seems to be aware of the situation, trying to move forward, but not up at the top of it. Has an angle. It's a beautiful shot back down towards Michael. That's gonna be a stop. Look at the push from Aqua 5, right up into their face. Preps out the grenade, trying to get a little bit more angle. Aqua 5 still holding this really up by himself. Pio still around the other side of that hill, trying to find the right angle for it. And I gotta say, Great Britain is just trying to run to get out of the situation.
Michael was cooking the grenade. It dropped on the floor and killed him. So that point goes to Korea. There is a response. Pio goes down, but so does VAD. So trade for trade. Miraku smokes are there. The ninjas in pajamas, or at least the 2-man, are with them.
Finland's pushing back around the other side angle from
Goodbye.
Great Britain. There is nowhere for Great Britain to go. Look, Samty is looking back on this angle, realizes he is in a lot of trouble, but
Oh,
Korea
no.
is still just leapfrogging with their cars down around the side of this. It's just a fight for dominance of this edge of the circle. Reels, what do you got? Do you have the angle back onto it? Samty does go down.
Miraku finds the shot, finds the first job done. Nades up and over we go. How much more damage? Tiksu forced to disengage from this one. They've overextended. Korea's now seen them. They're directly in front of them. Reels finds Samty. That's the confirmation. The grenade's there. Tiksu off angle. AKM up close and personal. Should they step forward, they'll have to deal with this. Tiksu, if he finds a grenade, the information's there. It could take some health off them. No, it doesn't. But it does give the info there lingering on the other side. Reels lowballs the grenade. Bad answers back. but the grenade damage is real. Miraku's down. I really would expect them to push this advantage.
But Australia's off on the other side of Korea, so here come the grenades out on one side of this. You can see Australia's trying to move around through it. Aqua 5 does go down. Alex is still just trying to hold this angle. Finland's still just trying to dismantle Great Britain. It is just a cluster of teams off to the side of this. Insight's just making his push around the outside. Is Ionex the last person up at this point? Yes, he is. He's going for the sprays back over towards Australia. Can he do it? Trying to get him down, somehow survives.
Ionex does survive. 12th position will be Australia's break for now. Great Britain still going toe-to-toe. Korea going strong. Ionex last man standing. How many more can he take? He keeps going and going. Death after death. Finally, somebody puts him in the grave. So many teams have gone down during that transition. South Korea, that's 11th place for them. UK also 4. They just got ahead of the game with 10th. We're down to 9. No, we're not. We're down to 7. How did I even miss this? So many people died in that one single engagement.
There is just nowhere to go inside of this complex. Germany has just been comfortably sitting out inside the center of the circle, but it has been a bloodbath as teams have just been stacking across, just trying to make it into the safe zone. You can see Finland finally gets back up their reses. Should have a chance to get a little bit of meds off, but you can see third parties are the factor right now. Everybody seems to have a sight line on at least one other team.
Okay, let's calm things down for a second.
Right.
That was a bit of a wild roller coaster. There was just attention from all angles of this map. Thailand yet to do anything. They've been quite quiet, but they have to move from the safety of that position they've been in all this time. They have to be careful because Jemti does have an eye line on them. So all 3 players from Finland are now focused towards them. Germany has the only last standing compound in this circle. They've been plumb center the entire time, and now they're making the aggressive push. I can see Canada. They're knocking at the door. They're just lingering downwind of them. Germany actually got it. Okay, so Mexico did push out. Duckmans does find contact initially with the guys on the side of Finland. Remember, they're outnumbered 4-3 here.
These shots are insane from Duckmans. He's just tearing apart Finland right now. Gets one of them down. Already gets a lot of damage. Gonna go ahead and follow, but get a second one. And look at that! Duckmans destroys Finland.
He just battered them all!
What is with these solo plays inside this game already? This is just the first game, Rich.
The kid's a freak!
Look at this. All
You
right,
can't
so
do
now,
that to Finland!
I picked Finland to win this, and he just tore them apart. All right, so we got Taipei in a nice position. Germany as well. You can see Brazil got their smokes down, trying to get a little bit more space. Canada still alive, very, very quiet, but it's a bloodbath off to the side. The Blues coming in, Brazil. I don't think you got time to go for those reses.
So Germany do have a really good position, but the problem is that they have literally teams on every single angle. A full 360-degree angle. You can't peek out the window. We're always seeing individuals actually falling because of that. Brazil falling at the wayside. Vietnam will have eyes on them. Thailand's lingering on the other side as well. Minuro time to strike, instantly cleans up that one. Gives another point towards, and that's 5. The last stand for Andy. What can he do though? Okay, so Thailand again, now they've had the safety of that building removed from them. Is a difficult stance. Yes, Duckmans is there. He can't respond. He can go front. Maybe give some body block here, but it looks to me like Canada's actually getting boxed in.
They're in a little bit of trouble. Grenades are coming through. Lots of damage out. They just got a res off, but you can see somehow Maluk is weathering all of these grenades drop next to him. 4 members of Vietnam are trying to push back over onto this, but a nice push coming out from Canada is going to reveal Maluk, though. He does get one down, but it's all onto Moody now. His K-Mine is down as well. This grenade could spell the end of Canada, depending on how it bounces. Moody's going to step up and around it, has the angle for it, but Levis is just going to push right up into Moody's face. They know he might be going for the res, trying to deny it. That grenade is going to finish it off, and there we go. Vietnam takes down Canada.
Bye, boys. If the grenade didn't do it, it was the aggressive push that would. Moving up there is perfect time to strike in PUBG. Get your enemy wounded, let them put the smokes up, and then press. Because below the smokes, your footsteps are hidden. It's not just a smoke screen to your eyes, but the noise also disengages the ears, so you can make a push like that, and it does work for now.
Chinese Taipei has an angle back over towards Thailand, taking a couple of shots. You can see the smokes are out, but Germany's also participating inside this. Brexco going to go ahead and take away one of these. That's going to be a steal going over towards them. Germany has been in a really interesting position. Sure, they get the circles, but they haven't had a chance to get a ton of kills as of yet because nobody's really pushed into their position. So that's why they're on the hunt right now. Chinese Taipei is trying to push off to one side. Meanwhile, Thailand also pushing back around over this while we've got Vietnam And Andy, the last guy alive for his squad, just kind of looking at everything, praying no one looks his direction.
So Germany have to pick their fights here. They're very sparse and very separated. Duckmans again just adds another body to the tally. Brazil, 5th position, will come through. Sapu finds Duckman, so at least they take out the Hunter, the Terminator for now. Put a bit of a stopgap on that one. Chinese Taipei, they'll get themselves back together. Rally the troops, get the health, get yourself back on your feet and prepare to move because they all have to come down this hill. It's going to be a bloodbath anywhere you go. Teams are just lingering on the side of this one. It's kind of a bit of a bowl ditch compared to where this compound is. You have to go up, essentially up and over. 4th position, but a valiant effort. Plenty of kills in the bag will give them some decent points. Germany, though, they are standing strong.
Germany is in a great position right now, but look at Vietnam sitting on 8 kills right now. Got a nice angle to make a poach. Look at Nizam. He's kind of pushed around the other side of this. Everybody knows that they're going to probably have to push around where Germany's at. It depends on how these angles come into play. If we see Chinese Taipei, they are going to have to push over next to Germany. Vietnam does not have to go anywhere, nor does Germany. So all the pressure over on this is going to be hard.
The only way they lose this is if they pick too many battles. If they decide to engage one team and they get hit from a third-party angle that they've not smoked up or made themselves
They still have so much
invisible
going,
from.
Like, look at the amount of grenades and smokes.
They've not really been in any fights,
Yeah.
so their gear's gonna. I think they've had 1 knock so far. Their gear's gonna be good. Their helmets, their chests. They'll still have any smokes. Their meds. I mean, for Vietnam, you can already see them. They're looting body boxes, picking up, claiming what they killed. Happy days for them.
My big thing is I'm keeping an eye on Nizam. His reposition could be absolutely huge, depending on how we see Germany have to move through this. It's starting to tell that it feels like Germany feels very comfortable in their position with this new circle set up. They know that they're going to be right on the edge of it, so he could be a very influencing factor in this as Germany might try to regroup who can find that right angle. But it's Vietnam just going back and forth right now, just taking some shots. SR's already down. Vietnam's just spraying back down towards Milk. That's another one down for him. They know they have the numbers, but they have to be cautious as Germany's looking up onto him. That's going to push them right up into 9 kills, about to be 10. Leo knows he's in a little bit of trouble. Germany can't really participate in this fight just due to angles.
And to be honest, I don't think they really want to, because if they go out as an individual, they might lose a single player. So then they can watch this. If they can steal a kill or two, then yeah, great, why not? They've got the level 2 eye line of the buildings. They could, 10 kills?
These guys are just stacking these up. Such great shots back over on this angle. Basil's looking off over towards it. You can see Nizam's got himself 4. Hasn't even been involved inside of this fight. Remember, this is just 3 members. Finally, Nizam, with a little bit of an angle. I thought he was going to go for a shot back over towards this, but now it's just Leo hanging out next to that rock.
I'm just seeing Chris casually with an AUG, so he's clearly geared up.
I mean,
The big man's going to be covered in level 3 armor.
Germany's just been chilling for so long now, but the problem comes into play. How much information have they been able to gather inside of this little divot that they're in? They keep hearing these firefights, but they don't have the best sight lines on what's going on around them.
It's Nizam that's the problem.
Exactly.
If he's stayed there the entire time, they won't have a read on him. If he strikes and just forces the dagger at the right time, then... Oh, here we go. Okay, that's damaging.
Oh, but he gets spotted out by Kate. So there we go. That's going to buy a little bit more space for him. Germany got their 4 kills, looking back over towards Vietnam, trying to find the right angle for it. But again, we're in circle 9. Everything's going to condense down the center, and that's exactly what Germany owns right now.
Keep pressing the advantage. Grenades go up. Gotta be careful, they don't overextend. That's a lot of damage. Sapu does have a grenade. Smokes are there. He will go for them. That's why you'd expect to see a team lingering. It does roll down. He's weak. Chris gets it. The big man goes down. That takes away the level 3 gear. Now they're splitting them at the waist side. How much more damage they can do? Spins on a pinhead. They've split. They split Germany. They've completely thrown this. What's going on?
Germany, what happened? You had that in the bag. Brexco's still alive, but look, we have so many members from Vietnam. Do they have the angle for it? Looks like Levi's is trying to push up onto this. Is he gonna find the angle before the res comes out? Brexco has to step away from it. Realizes it's too dangerous. Basil's looking back down on this hillside. Brexco just trying to hold out for it. Grenade's gonna go up a little bit too far. Not finding the angle for it, but there we go. Is that gonna be it? Vietnam walking away with the first game. I would not have expected that.
16 kills. 26 points to open up day 1, game 1. Germany must be absolutely kicking themselves, Matra.
I don't know what they were thinking. It felt like they thought that they had it, but I mean, that was a high ground push. They were pushing into somewhere where they didn't know where the repositions were coming from. And I gotta say, Vietnam just had momentum galore coming into that point. They had been fighting for so long and just racking up, again, 26 points to start off a 3-day event is massive.
It's always hard when you're fighting fights on multiple fronts, and Nizam's position may have just completely thrown Germany off.
Yeah.
They split at the side, it was a 2-1-1, and they even went for the res, unfortunately. I mean, you could have questioned it, should we have potentially gone for the kills as opposed to the res and just lingering around there, but either way, we can't take nothing away. Vietnam, that is a monumental performance to open up game one. You can't ask for any more. 26 points. I honestly cannot say anymore. I'm going to leave it for the desk to break that down. For now, we're going to take a very short break. When we return, match number 2 is coming up. What a game to start off the Nations Cup here, as we have Team Vietnam going absolutely hyper throughout that game, and they gave them the biggest sapow we have ever seen to start things off here for the Nations Cup. What a way to start things off. There were so many good moments throughout that series, throughout that game, guys, as a whole, but we've got to start with Vietnam. What an amazing result for them to get it going.
60 kills in the first game. I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking about all-star game here. We got the best players from some of the best nations here. You can't just do this.
How they played the whole game, it's mind-blowing how they're able to. They're definitely one of the kind of the underdogs or dark horses to some, and then coming to start like this with 16 kills, it's gonna put them in such momentum, and I'm quite sure just with this they're gonna be able to finish in the top 6.
Yeah, I mean, we were looking for an explosive game, and I don't think anybody would have predicted Vietnam coming out and in that fashion as well. They were a massive wildcard factor in this. I mean, they even said in the pre-show video that they were looking to make an upset and prove themselves, and I mean, you can't ask for a better start than that.
What better a statement than that, as you're mentioning. Thank you. Yeah, of course. Very, very impressive by stuff when it comes to their roster. Sapow is a guy, all jokes aside, that really does stand out when it comes to that game. He really did pop off. There were a few pop-offs during that game that we're going to get to talk about in a few moments' time, but Sapow really did stand out in the game.
I mean, I don't know how he did it. He just went for one after another, and he just never stopped. He never backed down. He just wanted to go further and further and further with it.
I mean, one of the things we talked about was the teams that are going to be able to obviously play this edge strat, and the way they were sweeping down on the southeast corner was actually really impressive to see. I mean, great awareness is obviously Canada's position. Canada actually sat in probably one of the strongest spots in the circle, and for them to come and kind of knock them off that spot, take it, and then capitalize on that was absolutely huge.
I was going to say, I want to stick with you for a moment on this HiPop, because you were mentioning in the final moments of that game that the position that they had is an extremely strong one when you're looking down into that kind of area. So overall, it's very good map awareness in their part as well.
Yeah, I mean, phase 7 actually saw Germany in a position where everybody was fighting over the top of them, and Germany couldn't really, I mean, Richard even said they have to be careful about what fight they take. They didn't have an opportunity to fight their way out of that compound, and actually by the end of it, Vietnam clearing the space they had Nizam in a great anchor position, waiting for that flank, and actually drew enough attention so that the rest of Vietnam could clean up the other side of the circle, wipe out Taipei, and then capitalize on Germany's position.
For sure. Let's talk about this chronologically a little bit, though, of course, because the start of the game is not quite what we really expected, I want to say. I think that is a fair assessment of it, because we not only saw crazy fights really far away from the blue between a lot of these teams, but also a little bit of a kind of an uncharacteristic start from a team like Turkey.
It also, I want to, before I start talking about a bit of Turkey here, you can definitely see how the edge meta and the edge strat really comes into play here. For many of these teams, we saw a lot of clusters down towards the south side. Luckily, the circle did go towards them, so we saw a lot of very interesting edge fights. Russia was one of the teams that really got kind of bit in the knee by the South American team, so I was surprised to see it being that edge heavy and being that kind of late game. But yes, Turkey playing a different style that they usually do in PL. We saw them pull up, push super aggressively, which we don't usually see, and then on top of that, run and like just drive towards the last player from Japan to completely finish that team out. I love to see that kind of play style, especially when we're talking in a superstar setting that we have here. You need to respect all of the teams.
I mean, credit where credit's due. They lost the first player in the game. So to come back and fight the way they did as 3 is what you want to see out of these teams at this event.
Eventually got themselves 8th place as well during all of the kind of hustle and bustle that was the start of that game. I'm going to come over to you, Froz, because obviously when it comes to a circle like that west of El Azhar, a lot of teams have choices that they do have to make, and effectively it's a river of Miramar. It's not quite a river, but it's a river that they have to traverse.
Yeah, and we saw that in Circle 3 that it was kind of carrying up half of the circle there. You had south side, you had north side. On the north side, we only had 4 teams and 11 teams on the south side, because everyone was thinking, all right, this is the harder part to get down to. It's the south side. So they wanted to be prepared there. At the same time, we did see the circle go down there, so it did benefit them in the end. And we had teams like USA that got stuck by the gas station on the road there itself.
And speaking of Team USA, of course, HiPop, when you were looking at how they were kind of playing out their style, their rotations, how did this kind of shape up compared to what they're normally used to?
I mean, having come from the same roster, obviously, previously under White and Fade, we came under fire for these late wraps that, we never ended up getting into a position where, Circle 3, we were looking to dominate from a central compound. And again, they just got caught at the edge of the circle, and the wrong edge of the circle, admittedly, because they come in late, it shifts away, and they don't have the time to set themselves up. We saw them get stuck with this weird, drawn-out fight at the compound with Australia initially, and then they ended up wrapping around, obviously, onto the west tip of the city, and then, like I said, getting stuck at the gas station where actually you're driving down into a valley in Circle 4 where everybody is looking at you at that point.
And before that, honestly, so if the circle had gone north, it was kind of a 50-50, but we had Elazaha extremely central. But before that, they took such a northern rotation that didn't go on the normal road. They even went north of the Oasis, which is going to take so much longer. So if you come late in and you don't get that circle, which is a 50-50, then you're going to be taking so much longer again.
I mean, for me, it's black and white. You either bank on the 50-50 or you come in late.
Yeah.
You can't come in late and then try and chance the 50-50 as well. At that point, you have to send it. You have to get yourself something you can fight for.
I have a few notes here, and I want to read out, ladies and gentlemen, what I've written at home. South Korea, Inonix goes mental. What? What was that? They took every fight with everybody, eventually paid for it, but he popped off.
I mean, the thing was that the way they swung around on Australia, and I think it was actually Inonix that ended up getting all 4 kills onto Australia, didn't even stop for 5 seconds before he was knocking another 2 members of Great Britain. The way that he managed to swing those 2 fights together, I mean, you want to go down in a blaze of glory, and that was it.
You can hear it in the arena, like it was getting ecstatic.
electric,
It was insane, and I love to see that. And that's kind of what we can expect to see from South Korea going forward. I think this kind of aggressivity we're going to see from them, I love that. And the aggression they're going to be putting out from the start is really nice.
Aggressivity.
Yeah, that's the nice.
I knew I was going to get you.
That's why I changed it in the end. That's why I changed it.
I like it. But overall, I think absolutely an amazing play from Inonix, and I think it is testament almost to the kind of star power that we do have here, Froz, in that a lot of these players can potentially step up to that kind of caliber.
Oh yeah, I mean, we saw more players doing that, but it also came down to he knew he was the last man standing for the team.
Yeah.
He couldn't really go for any position, and he knew that he was going to die. He couldn't go any further. Let's grab as many points as possible in the first game. And I mean, in the end, even though they got 11th place, they did get 6 kills. And 6 points for the first game, it's not bad.
Well, wait a minute, gentlemen, because I need to check in with my notes again here for a moment. Thailand, Duckmans goes mental. What is it? What is going on? There is such good plays in our first game. Duckmans, I think he got a triple very, very swiftly after some great peeking, bobbing and weaving. Very good stuff, Avenger.
I was surprised to see how well that Thailand they were able to kind of control the southwestern side. Yes, they did get kind of got under fire from the other sides, but before that and how they're able to sweep, stay on the southwestern side, take a lot of points, and Duckman's like that's probably one of the best triple kills back to back that we've been able to see from some of these guys so far, and also in some of the other international tournaments. Duckman's is a force to be reckoned with alone. For these guys, we saw Minoru as well also have some really nice skills. I'm looking forward to see these guys continue their play style, because that's gonna pay off for them if they continue this style.
Especially when I think it was against Finland. Was it Duckman?
Yeah,
against
the trip was, yeah.
So you're going up against world elite players.
Yeah, I was just about to say the ability to reset from a fight that's probably not advantageous, where they were trying to hold that edge, to then come out and be peeking Finland the way he was peeking them. That takes massive.
I mean, and I saw that on top of that. Sorry to interrupt, Ross. The shots. It was 3 headshots on the first few shots.
That first peek on Tixu.
It was absolutely insane, and it was just ducking and weaving. There's so much pressure pushing on from a single player onto a full team of Finnish powerhouse.
Let's take a look at the breakdown here for game number 1, of course, as we do have our playing path set in stone, and we're able to take a quick view as to how everyone was dropping. And in general, this drop for a lot of the teams did present some difficult choices when going to the first circle.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a lot of teams dropping early, and they were kind of stuck west of Los Leones where they were fighting each other.
About 6 teams.
About 6 teams.
Yeah.
And then we had a few teams that was on the northeast side, Germany, one of them, dropping almost where, I mean, the game ended itself. And it made it into a passive game for them.
I mean, this exemplifies it, right? You see how little Germany had to move throughout this game. They were comfortable, and my question to Froz towards the very end was, they had the compound for so long, were they even warmed up to be able to take the victory?
Well, and actually, historically, we don't see G2 do well in our Azaha circles.
No.
We don't
Right,
see them
right.
perform well in that. So to have them now in this game one here, again, arguably a bit of circle favor, but they, like I think you've hit the nail on the head. They weren't warmed for the end game there.
But I really like the kind of the early game we saw from them. They had a 2-2 split to begin with. Then we went into the second phase where they had a 1-1-2 split. Then we saw the next circle pop. And from there, they were able to move into a good position. Yes, they only got 4 kills, but they got 6 placement points. So 10 points from this game is respectable. But I would say the way that Vietnam was able to finish up, spread out and kind of wrap around them like a burrito and just finish them and eat them up. It was insane.
Are you hungry?
Yes, a little bit.
I think so.
even though Germany got the second place, they were playing that compound. I feel like they played a little bit too passive.
Yeah.
They could have gone a little bit outside, stretch it out, make sure you get a little bit more info and get a little bit more kills.
I think they left it too late to do that. If they had done that before other teams had started descending, absolutely they could have taken a much better hold on that compound and the surrounding terrain, but they left it too late and they were in a position where they then couldn't do that.
Exactly. On that point as well, you have to remember when they're that center for that long, you will have because there's kind of into a ball, right? They tried to push out. It's Chris tried to push out where Chinese Taipei was kind of early. He then got knocked. He had to crawl back into the compound to get rest. So they tried to, but they got denied by the teams that already had control of the point. So being into that ball in fourth circle just kind of held them in. That's why we see the low amount of kills and the placement, because they managed to stay there for so long.
It's not as even as if Vietnam had any easy road into this game either, right? They traversed seemingly some of the longest rotation we saw in the entire game and then got themselves 16 kills on top of the chicken dinner. They went through a trial by fire and they passed in flying colors.
I mean, it came down to, in the beginning, they played a little bit slower, but they knew that they needed to take ground towards the end, and they were doing that really good as a team, working on the east side all together. And as you mentioned before, Avenger, when Nissim actually sacrificed himself to make sure that the other players on the team could get into a position and win the game.
And of course, Team Thailand here, Duckmans really did stand out. However, of course, he is very much so augmented by a lot of the members around him. It is an all-star lineup for their region, and it is a very heavy fan favorite region as well when we see all of the viewership coming in from around the world for Thailand and obviously the SEA.
From previous tournaments, we've seen so much support to these guys. They, in general, like Thailand, they're a fan favorite, yes, but they have thousands, probably millions of fans out there, and so much support. Minoru is one of the really big streamers from their region, and I'm happy to see him here to be able to represent his nation.
Team USA.
Team USA, not the best start. I mean, they got themselves 13 plays, 0 kills. They had a rough time, but they also had a rough circle to play with. They landed on the southwest side, had to rotate all the way up on the north.
I want to give credit where credit is due. The circle and the plane that we had. So we had a plane that was from the southwest up to the northeast. And then we had a northeastern circle. So thinking, okay, the north must then be free, which was completely right. Was the best call when you're that far away from the circle. So I really respect that. But yes, as you mentioned before, Hyper, being able to kind of push in and take a bit of more chances, you can't play both games.
The thing is though, if you're the first out of the plane, you should be able to capitalize on that. And they never took an attempt to get to the right spot in the circle. Like I said, they just bounced between 2 or 3 compounds, but they didn't even decide to take a fight. It didn't end up coming to a fight.
Well, it comes down to Valley's decision there. They drop out early, they see the circle, and Valiant goes, alright, we're gonna be late for circle anyway, let's just loot up and get as much things as possible to work with later on.
It is now time to go to game number 2. We're going to Miramar once again as we have almost an opposite plane path. Let's head over to our commentary team.
Thank you very much indeed, James. Yes, what an absolute blinder of a game to open up day number 1. 26 points to kick it off, Matrim. That sets a statement going forward.
Well, we were all like, okay, everybody's going to play it a little bit calm and relaxed. Everybody's going to just try to make sure
Do
that
their
they
own
survive
thing.
for a long... No, we're just not going to do any of that. We're probably going to have one of the most active early games I've seen in PUBG in quite a while. Now, the question is, do we see it again, do you think? Or do you think maybe everybody's calmed down just a touch?
I mean, you've kind of got a taste of how things are going to play out, right? It's and we kind of predicted this. It'll be weird. It'll be wild. I think there'll be a lot of just pulling up and just getting stuck in. Like at the start with Japan, that solo player, you can't do things like that. You know, Turkey just like, oh, if you want to shoot us, we'll just get out and slap you. That's not a problem.
I get the feeling like whenever we saw that really hard shift up towards the northeast, a lot of teams just were like, nope, okay, we're just not even going to worry about rotation. Let's go for kill points instead. I'm kind of curious if that might just be a factor that we see be more reoccurring, because a couple of these guys we see will frag out. I mean, it was just like James was talking about down there. Claris was just like, oh, this guy went mental. This guy went mental. I got to say, at this point, it's not Duckman's, in my opinion. It's Duckman Z, because he went like full Super Saiyans, I think.
I mean, the stats don't lie. We were looking at some of the stats from the leagues that have actually been occurring. When you look towards Duckman's, from Amri Gaming, so far for his actual league itself on the Southeastern Asian Championship, first in kills, first in damage, and fourth on survivability. That's in 24 rounds, 61 kills, 2.54 KD. Like, I know it said, I mean, there's two angles you could take that. One, is his region just of a lower player ability compared to him? There is that, and he's just a step above. Or is the man just a diamond in a rough, and he's a complete machine?
I just gotta say machine. I've seen it too many times at this point.
When you're taking out Finland like that, it kind of sets a statement, really.
Well, I also want to make sure we give some respect to Korea. While they didn't necessarily walk away with a big win, they walked away with a statement.
The play from Inez was just tremendous. And again, that's another one, as James was saying, where the stats actually don't lie. You can look at these individual players, and it's just the telling story. They're the fraggers of the region. They are the powerhouses, but match number 2 is now live. Not too dissimilar playing path from previous, but we start on the east this time and we head over to the west, ending above Valdemar. We'll see if the drops do change up. We'll follow the playing path through, and this time I think it would be fair to say you have to look towards that Turkey and Japan fight to see if it does kick off once again.
I mean, it just looks like somebody put down a reverse Uno card from the last game. It's just the exact opposite path coming across through here.
Instantly, just forces it back one.
But we are seeing China jump out much earlier this time. Remember, we saw them back down towards the south earlier.
Yep.
So it looks like they're making the push back around San Martin, at least Hacienda, north of that somewhere. Germany, a little bit of a modification as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see this mix up a little bit back and forth. Do you think that we're going to see set drop locations in this event, or do you think it's going to be a lot of modifications off the plane path?
So from individual teams, you'll see it in MPL, we see it in PL, other regions also. Sometimes you have a backup drop. When the plane isn't favorable to you, you will go somewhere else. For this scenario, I think it's just you have to have, and I've always said this, the best players in PUBG, not just for this league and this tournament, but the best players in PUBG, God, could you ask to land on a better weapon? I wish that happened, just goes through the window and there's a scar, thank you very much. The best players are the ones who adapt on their feet. You can't just rely on, fair gentleman's game, I go here, you go there, I need this amount of loot before it's whoever adapts to this.
Okay,
Well, I'm going to stop for a second because if this circle hard shifts down south,
give it to me.
We're going prison.
This is straight up NPL circle. This is my home territory, Rich. This is what I know.
The closest I have ever had, and I believe it was me and D-Man, the closest I have had is Los Higos. I've never had a prison or Minas del Sol finish.
I mean, we probably won't get one, but in my heart of hearts, like, you're like me. You just really love the evil circles, don't you?
I do.
We just became best friends now.
To be honest, this could potentially be quite an evil circle. One, because you already have 7 teams that are stationed within this. 2, you instantly, with the water and with that western cliff face, you say, okay, well, there's no point of entry there. So you're taking away, essentially, a good, 180 degrees of that map. You take away 50%. Well, no, sorry, excuse me. There's 25% left of that circle to make an entry point in.
Wait, look at this. Okay, so Russia has forever to go. These guys are around Terra Branca. Looks like they're making a push up to Campo Militar. This is just we know we're going to be in the blue. That circle is forever away from us, so let's just get whatever we want and make the push down whenever. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually push all the way back over towards the west before going back down south.
Yeah, they're going to be aware that Germany will be lingering in the distance, I suppose. This is more like a PEL contenders Russian team play, to be fair, going up to Militar, but nevertheless, it will be the furthest away from the circle, and they have a hell of a lot of job to get here.
Look at that leaderboard. 26 points. Second place is Germany back in 10th.
Just
huge.
In, topography kind of feels, the harder part for this one is if teams decide to set up on that darker area of the map, the hillsides with all the ferns on, like the darker sand area. There's some really nasty plateaus there which you can just set up, perch upon, and basically just murder and rain down hell from above. And traversing those cliffs when teams are on top of them, you're just unfortunately asking to die because the cars are so slow going up. If you get an eye line on 1 or 2 players, they're just gone.
The big factor also comes into be how hard it is to go east to west and west to east. So if we see hard shifts onto either side of that, really just due to how the terrain plays, the pathing for the roads kind of carves this north-south dichotomy that is in that part of the map. If you have to cross back over towards the west, it is so hilly. You're going down cliffs or hitting those plateaus that you were talking about, and then just have to drop back down off of it. But, I mean, much quieter early game this time around, but a lot of teams are already on the move. You can see we've got Thailand making a pass over next to Finland, but naturally Jim Team's not going to take any shots back over towards this. I think that everybody is aware that this circle is going to be pretty rough, so early rotations coming in much bigger, except for, again, Russia, who's still up around Campo Militar.
Yeah, that'll be a long one. You'd have to give them the saving grace and say no one's going to really camp the edge, and they should be able to take that entire eastern coastal road straight down and maybe just kick it through Puerto Paraiso, just go below Los Leones, somewhere there. But the amount of times you see a team either dying on arrival or at least dying in next rotation because it's such an awful place to maneuver from and rotate from. Several teams will probably just go below Picado, stay in the north, and hope that the circle comes up their way. If it does go down south, I have no idea what's going to happen, and honestly, it's just going to be a wild, wacky game. Teams setting up and being prepared for that. If you move close to Valdemar, you will get the bridge access to the island should you have to do it, and then you can basically just play spoiler to everyone else who wants to come across. The more interesting point for me is where the Finns are going to be setting up.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. They're set up in a nice spot for it. Are trying to get a little bit of high ground. Looks like Vietnam's already looking back towards Canada, taking a couple of shots back towards them. Well, going for at least a couple of points to get this started, but Canada wants to have nothing to do with this. Going to continue up that hillside. The modification coming out from Moody is also going to get them away, but again, you can see, we talked about momentum coming into games. Look at that. These guys are out for blood already. They know they're at the top of the leaderboard, and they know they have space to play. They can just go ahead and go as aggro as they want early, but Tixu looking back down over towards Argentina. I love this. This is just a trap waiting to go off. The shots come out, but they actually go a little bit wide. Not going to connect, but oh, the retaliation comes through. Tixu, you're going to regret that one.
Okay. From absolutely nowhere, Anesta just peppers in 17!
No! The car's still going! Watch out! This is not the way you want it to end. Finland, what the hell is going on with you guys right now?
Oh god, somewhere in my mind I just saw an image of Scoop's face flash, and I panicked. What?
Oh,
Germany!
they're going for it!
What's happened to Germany?
Argentina's actually coming up on us. They're throwing grenades into Finland in this down position.
The vehicle's next to it. The vehicle.
Oh my lord. This is so great, and this is vengeance. Remember, they started this. They took the shots at him. If that car rolls back down over onto him, they're still following back onto this. Finland's just trying to get out of this situation. They've already lost so much and got nothing for it.
Samti's dead. Tixu will be on the cleanup. You expect Robox just to see him downwind. Help me, please. Somebody, please help me. Put me out of my misery. Bye. 2 points move to Argentina. Finland are punished. Kane is forced to... Yeah.
That's what got your Germany boys right there.
Yeah, Kane's on the pull-up. He's like, okay, don't worry, lads. I got this. It's fine. You've made a mess, but we can put it back together. I have the tape. I have the bandages. Let's fix this and move on. Nothing happened. Don't worry about the blue.
But now they've got the worst villain of the game, the blue coming after them. That was caused by the second biggest villain in the game, the motorcycle. Well, at least it's not the three-seater motorcycle.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Thank the Lord there's no three-seater, because that would be probably the top fragger in not only this competition, but across of all the leagues entirely. Circle getting very, very condensed. All these players just being preemptive of where they set up. USA is the deepest so far, the closest to Valdemar, keeping an eye on that bridge and an emergency exit plan should the circle go down toward the south. China and Russia once again slow to the circle. All the way up on the northern side will be making their entry point around Monte Nuevo. Chinese Taipei, Western Road, just behind USA, but they're outside the circle, where USA is further afield down on the end of it. Australia, Korea, once again clashing heads. Not actually making contact, but still very, very close. Argentina are just being trailed ever so slowly by Canada.
Kind of interesting that we're seeing Russia and Canada on a complete inverted map from last time.
Yes.
Still out in the blue, close to each other. It seems like they have very similar rotation patterns that could be something we need to keep an eye on through the rest of this, as we might see these guys skirmish Circle 1, Circle 2 fairly regularly. Meanwhile, Great Britain's just making their way back over towards their hilltop. Going to get themselves a nice little viewpoint from here. I love the sight lines in this position, especially once you start making your way up next to that church, getting those high ground spots. You can just see for days. The problem with it is, it's not necessarily as centered as everything is, so these guys are kind of praying for an eastern shift.
Don't know what will happen yet. Anything could. These guys from Germany are still in the blue, just so you guys are aware. The last two teams that are in the blue are actually Germany and Russia. Russia's all the way further afield in the north, just to the left-hand side of San Martin. China, not quite in the blue, but certainly playing edge for now. Circle about to condense. Where's she going to go? Is this going to get... Please, hard shift south. Just do it for the memes.
Do it. Bring it to us. Oh,
we avoid
right
it.
Centered up.
Okay, we avoid it, but the difficulty is, Matrim, there is a hell of a lot of teams that are already set up in that circle. The ones on the outside now.
Canada and Vietnam are the two that are going to have the hardest part. Like, we see these guys that are still coming in from the blue, like Russia and them. The north is fine. Canada and Vietnam, this is going to be rough for them to push into circle.
Vietnam's turning face and actually having none of it. I can see them just disengaging completely from the path that they were on, so maybe they have the information.
Not again, Finland. Not like this.
The last two Finns standing in the vehicle, the tires, the smoke, the bullets. Korea's in front of them as well.
Korea's just on the other side. Are they going to be able to go? No! It's going to be Pio that takes them down, and Finland down and out so early. There's only been 4 deaths, and all of them were Finland. I guess I'm just cursed. Is it anytime I predict someone to win?
No, I think it's because Finland begins with F, and that's what the chat should be spamming right now. They had a 12th place finish in the previous round, and only picked up 1 kill, and now they got nothing. That is just a travesty. All 4 players dead. Finland out, round number 2.
Well, this is I would say, a very interesting situation we're going to need to keep an eye on. We've already seen what can happen with Thailand and Korea whenever they decide that they want to start killing some stuff. And they've already positioned right next to each other. So we might have to see these guys rotate towards... I mean, we'll have to see how it goes through, but it could be spicy.
Really sorry to cut you off. Look at this of an interesting play on screen right now.
Vietnam?
So Vietnam disengaging, taking the bridge. This is dangerous though. They might get lucky because USA isn't actually on the bridge itself. They're further and deeper inside Valdemar. So they could get a free entry point here.
Oh my god, is this going to happen again? Always North America early game shooting at each other, so USA's got the low ground, taking a couple of shots back over towards Moody. A little bit of damage comes through. Valiant does manage to take down Maluk off of this. So you can see now Canada's just trying to survive along this hill. Not a lot of space to work with. K-Mine finally hits a couple of shots, forces Baja back down that hillside, but a little bit dangerous as, it's going to be third parties. Japan looking back down the other side of Canada.
Level 1 helmet on C's here. Needs to be very careful. Bullet comes his way, he's going to be in all kinds of trouble. Smokes and utilities being committed. Moody's
rough. That's a
cut off from the rest of the pack, unfortunately. He's not out, but certainly in trouble for now. I'll need to... Drassel gets hit in the face with a grenade, and here comes the bombardment. Up and over we go. Japan just laying down the fire. It clips the wall, you lucky boys. Bleeding at the wayside. There's only one of them standing, I think, Matrim.
And it's Moody, the guy that we thought was in the worst spot ever right now, somehow surviving through this, just hanging out on this little bit of a dip. USA can't move forward because Japan's in the position, and Japan really can't come back down. So really, Moody's just stuck here. There's so many bullets going around him, there's nothing that he can do. Unfortunately, the rest of his team is just going to get flushed out here. As you can see, Japan's on the hunt for that last guy. Has no idea what's going on with it.
I like how they're being cautious, at least. They're not just running in.
Looking around
All
for
arms open. He's hiding behind the vehicle. I don't think he spotted him over the wall. I'll go for the bleed out. Grenades in the building. Shoot. Oh, it's a flash. Excuse me. Okay.
I think that they're expecting a res to be going off right now, so just going to go ahead and pick those up. Easy peasy kills coming through, but you can see New Circle popped. It's actually going to be USA and Vietnam having to make their way up towards the north. It looks like China is looking back over towards Russia, taking a couple of shots. Russia's going to have to be very cautious on this approach. That's going to be one down, and it's Uva already just instantly flushed.
Completely destroyed instantly. Pick up the point.
Russia
finally do. They'll regroup themselves, but now Australia do have an eye line on this one, so Aduzi has to be careful. The stims are on, but it's not enough. Reposition the vehicle and hide the tires. That's fine. They're inside the circle, but it's not deep. It's expect to be moving further, and that's probably what they want to do. Take the next compound and give them a bit more of an obstacle to jumpstart them, should they have to rotate on the next round. Australia are in front of them, 2-2 split across. So this is actually 3 teams if you want to class all these compounds as La Driller. They are split amongst it. China up against it. Should the circle be rather unfavourable to them, they need a hard shift in which they're able to stay in there. But as we saw in the previous round with Germany, staying in a compound, not being aggressive, It doesn't always play best.
Look, we do have Levi's way up there, trying to get a little bit better of a sight line, but that's going to put a lot of distance back over for this. It's going to be some hard shots to hit.
I have noticed, Matchroom, China's actually going solo. They're sending 4. They're keeping 2 back in 2 different compounds, but Summer and Godby are splitting. They've got themselves a foothold in here.
Well, we have Vietnam. Looks like they've decided that they want no part of what's going on. And again, I like this. There is no purpose in having that fight with USA. It's not even in the safe zone, so there's no reason to control that territory. Just reposition, move in ahead of USA, and gatekeep them out. Makes it very difficult for now. USA has to figure out how they're going to make that approach. And now USA is forced to look back up next to Japan. Germany's already making their way over in a circle. Looks like they're going to post up right over here next to Argentina. But oh, Moody still somehow alive, clinging to life as he's just narrowly going to make it back up there. But I think that Depp saw it.
This is rather unfortunate. He's basically landed in the place where the corpses of his fellow players are still warm from Japan.
It's just
cleaning
free
them up on a
meds though,
previous.
right?
I suppose so. If you can get something off the back of it because it needs to. Hell.
At this point, Moody is praying that USA engages Japan just so, like, please give me some cover. And oh, look at this flank around. They have 1 middle from Japan. It's off to the side of this. Moody's going to take a lot of damage, and there we go. Canada is out from a nice reposition.
Japan hold point. Communication between 2 players holding 2 different angles. They were looking for that final one to capitalize and knock a team out and jump up a placement. Pomade does spot out Germany, knows they're an arrival, so all of Argentina will be on red alert. The Germans are at the door in Kumasera, and they're further afield so they can gatekeep them if necessary. All the way down south, it's a bit of a triple threat. Japan, USA, Turkey. Vietnam also, if you want to throw them in the mix, they're across the road.
Sixmo is actually looking back towards that crate right now next to Japan, so we'll have to see how that goes. Oh, Chris! Nice shot back over towards Pomade. This is what he is known for. Follows through, just downs and flushes it. Germany's starting to feel a little bit aggressive here. They know now Argentina's over next to him. Look at this reposition come out from Brexco. No fear, just jumps right over to this hillside. And looking back on the open side of this warehouse, I love that play.
They'll have been given a bit of a kick up the ass in the previous round. That being passive is not the play of the game. Brexco down to 9 HP, forced out. Silzen, grenade in hand, he cycled it. He wants to finish this one off and capitalize. Needs to be careful he doesn't overextend outside of the building because Chris is lurking with that K9.
We often talk about the fact that PUBG is about trying to make sure everybody has to play around your strategy. We're starting to see these really aggressive teams that just have absolute faith in their aim, just being aggressive, and it is paying off as Silzen goes down. You can see the other members are trying to capitalize, but it's going to be Great Britain's Miraku that gets that down on Brexco. So now Argentina has a little bit of a gap to work with, but has to be very cautious. Just 2 members up right now.
It's not often you see someone just pull up the vehicle on the back of the building from a very small area, but I suppose if it keeps you safe, then fair play, whatever works, lads.
Well, I think that was Argentina being very aware of the kill feed. They saw who got downed off of this, so they knew that they had the opportunity. So Great Britain really just giving Argentina a perfect reposition spot. But Kate doesn't care. Looking back over towards Earns, they've got to be super cautious. As now Australia is joining in the party, hitting a couple of shots back over this direction as well towards Germany.
The Aussies give him a tickle.
Oh, Turkey. Look at Turkey. They're starting to encroach over next to Argentina. They're wanting to third party this. They've snuck in. A Beautiful Death is looking back over towards Earns. This is going to be bad. He's just going to run right up into him. Argentina has nowhere to go. There's just 1 member up and alive for him right now.
Has to go for the reload, which is rather unfortunate. Otherwise, he might have gone for the spray down to the second player. Blue is encroaching on the back. He's not in a good position. The heel is off, and that's lucky. Up against it now, Sixmo and Co. They will look to capitalize and finish off this final player. Maybe pick up
but he's
a
behind
point
him.
and a place. He is. But it all depends. You have to give the go sign for this. And this is what happened before with Turkey. They capitalized. They had the information. It was fed back. The damage is done. Levi's, Basil, they're all dying. Someone's cleaning up. Oh my god. So the vehicle must have been flipped on the way down. China's just taking out 2 of Vietnam.
That is absolutely huge. You can see Vietnam is having to just run from this now. They still have another 2 on a motorcycle. This is just the most dangerous strategy you can choose to do on this part of Miramar. It's just waiting to flip a bike. So they do manage to at least get to safety off of this, but it looks like Russia is trying to get involved as now Korea is taking some pot shots back over towards Japan, who couldn't make it down that hillside. We also have Turkey around the same. What is going on in these games?
Godby did go down to a grenade. He's still down but not out. A teammate is pulling up to help him. That's maybe getting a little bit too overzealous and just tickling Russia a little bit too close. You have to be aware if you poke the back here, you're going to get the claws. Oh, Russia may have had a bit of a rough round in the previous one. with a 15th place placement, but they are certainly no pushover. Michael still applying the pressure, sees he's down, he's dead, they pick up a point. Japan's eliminated, so several different teams have actually gone to town on them. Now all of a sudden, Chinese Taipei, Duckman's instantly the Terminator himself, he's dead instantly. Flush, a beautiful death finished off by Uda Mayafire.
Now it's still Argentina just hanging out inside the blue. They hear all of what's happening in front of them. Knows the fact that this is going to be ridiculously dangerous. And in the least stealthy vehicle in the world, trying to push by all of these teams, sees the new circle pop, hits the rock, but has to be cautious. Gonna go ahead and meta through that, so he should be fine. But Germany's looking back over towards Turkey. Gonna have to be very, very careful as we move now. You can see the circles popped up. Germany just getting some circle love right now.
They are, but it's not going to be without fight. Because how many teams have to come their way? They're in a good position. They hold a really good plateau, which will deny line of vision from below, but certainly a lot of people that want to make a pressure play to them or just a push with a vehicle will have to deal with them and move on board. Shippy, bullets do come back. Zampa gets responded on. Thailand, they answer the call. Valiant and Zampa simultaneously just melted as they approach the garage.
And you can see Sharky, Baha are trying to push back down into it, but they don't have the cleanest path anymore as all of these people that are across this hillside are just raining down damage as they go. If you're in the valleys right now, your life is absolutely miserable. There are just people stacked up in these high ground spots, raining bullets upon your head.
For 5. Nate knocks him, have to get back on his feet. Thailand, wow, okay. Sharky and Baha turn up. It looks like, I wonder if they tried to get in the vehicle and they just murdered them.
Well, at this point, I think, and it's gonna be another vehicle flip.
F.
Look at it this way, at least now nobody has killed them, right? They are the masters of their own destiny, right? Nobody else can kill us except for us.
Let's not give any teams any points, we'll just let the blue do the job. Oh dear, sees Korea on the move. USA is up in the backlines as well. You can see Ionic. Ooh, with the okay, the smokes are there, so he's at least helping his teammates out. Michael spots him, and that's a big scalp to take. If you can take down one of the top fraggers, Sharky, unfortunately for him in the kill feed, Loki spots him out. That's a marksman onto another marksman. Gives him a taste of his own medicine. Sixmo actually steals the kill away from Great Britain. Turkey pick up a point off the back of Korea.
So now it's getting very bloody back down towards the south. Korea's trying to gatekeep out everything. Korea eliminates the United States in just a beautiful spray. This is Korea again, caught up in a fight with 3 different teams around them, and we can see they're perfectly comfortable in this position as Chris tries to line up another shot, goes a little bit wide, and you have got to be so cautious at this stage. Every single time you pull that trigger, it just draws so much attention your direction. Germany realizes they're starting to make their push up and around, but just look at the teams in close proximity around them. That mini-map is stacked full of teams.
You're seeing on SR as well, holding an M24. On that roster, there was 2 sniper rifles. So if Germany want to try and tackle them head on, the range will be in their favor. They can answer back should Chris find a tag. Brazil, been a little bit quiet this game. They are lingering on the edge. Chinese Taipei just below them in the south. China up on the north. Summer and Mad 98 will have a difficult time. Russia, Australia, Germany, they control the circle. China could go to the north. They could take the hillside. There is a broken compound, but it will be exposed to the grenades from Russia. Brazil, Chinese Taipei, they're the ones that need to make the move here. The fight will engage between them. Once this is all said and done though, Matra, Russia's lingering in the distance.
So now you can see a little bit of spray back down. The Roki's already down. It's going to be Andy going down as well. Milk takes a ton of damage, but it's the high ground. Everybody's just dancing around the top of it. Grenades are starting to rain down, but bouncing a little bit wide. Just 2 members from Brazil are up right now. They're just rolling those grenades right up over the smoke. Here's the footsteps. Rusty Zero's trying to go for the shots. Gets a lot of damage off, but it is just RDNX trying to go for the res. Does manage to get it, but they're just bouncing through smoke. Has to be so cautious. How did that grenade not get them down? RDNX goes down now. It's just Andy who is just res up. Smokes go away, and there we go. Brazil is just down and out.
That's an absolute sweep. They went uphill and just basically curved around Brazil. Manages to take them out, but eyes on the prize. China has heard all these shots kicking off. Korea, they're pushing. Germany over on the opposing side of the hill. He finds Chris. The marksman's gone. We were speaking earlier about the grenades from Russia. You have to be careful. A doozy sent one up and over. That's 3 players he's just taken down with 1 nade.
This is absolutely huge right now. Korea's trying to make their way up the hillside. There are, what, 6 teams within about 200 meters of this location. Aqua 5 is just trying to make his way up the hillside. Theo's just raining down damage under Uter My Fire, trying to creep his way down the side of this. Look at this, SR is also in a ton of trouble. We've got just so many teams stacking up around these angles. There is just nowhere to go as Korea is just murdering people across this hillside.
Tag team in players. Germany down 8th position. Top 7 alive. Pio still continues to push. Mad 98 onto Leo. China, they made the push. Russia's on the opposing side. Grenades, they should be in their hand. They haven't had too many fights just yet. If a doozy can hit an absolute worlder of a banger here. He did in the previous one. Don't know how many kills he actually managed to pick up from it. Killing spree comes in. 10 kills for Korea. The next challenge in Great Britain has arrived.
Here is the problem. Korea is just fighting everyone around them. So much confidence coming out there. Already up to 10 kills. Now that they've cleared out around them and they're starting to go for that hillside, which will allow them to look back down towards what's going on with Russia. Summer, though, I love this play. He's moving right along this wall. A doozy hears it. The spray comes out from Summer and gets him down first, though. Retaliation comes right out from a doozy. Now, what is Mad going to do? He is right in the smokes, just spraying where he hears footsteps. A doozy is the last number up. The spray comes up, and there we go. China manages to take down Russia.
Summer. And Mad 98 single-handedly shattering the dreams of Russia. They do take the compound and continue the push. Pio, up and over we go with a grenade. Reels and Miraku. They
achieve with it. But as an artist, I always look back and I see so many things that we could improve.
There was always that 2% that we wanted to increase.
하나의 큰 그림을 맞.
Actually steals the kill away from Great Britain. Turkey pick up a point off the back of Korea.
So now it's getting very bloody back down towards South Korea's trying to gatekeep out everything. Korea eliminates the United States in just a beautiful spray. This is Korea again, caught up in a fight with 3 different teams around them, and we can see they're perfectly comfortable in this position as Chris tries to line up another shot, goes a little bit wide, and you have got to be so cautious at this stage. Every single time you pull that trigger, it just draws so much attention your direction. Germany realizes they're starting to make their push up and around, but just look at the teams in close proximity around them. That mini-map is stacked full of teams.
You're seeing on SR as well, holding an M24. On that roster, there was 2 sniper rifles, so if Germany want to try and tackle them head on, the range will be in their favor. They can answer back should Chris find attack. Brazil been a little bit quiet this game. They are lingering on the edge. Chinese Taipei just below them in the south, China up on the north. Summer and Mad 98 will have a difficult time. Russia, Australia, Germany, they control the circle. China could go to the north. They could take the hillside. There is a broken compound, but it will be exposed to the grenades from Russia. Brazil, Chinese Taipei, they're the ones that need to make the move here. The fight will engage between them. Once this is all said and done though, Matra, Russia's lingering in the distance.
So now you can see a little bit of a spray back down the road. He's already down. It's going to be Andy going down as well. Milk takes a ton of damage, but it's the high ground. Everybody's just dancing around the top of it. Grenades are starting to rain down, but bouncing a little bit wide. Just 2 members from Brazil are up right now. They're just rolling
Germany,
those grenades
they control
right
the
up over
circle.
smoke.
China
Here's
could go
the
to the
first
north.
He's trying to go for the shots. Gets a lot of damage off, but it is just RDNX trying to go for the res. Does manage to get it, but they're just bouncing through smoke. Has to be so cautious. How did that grenade not get them down? RDNX goes down now. It's just Andy who's just res up. Smokes go away, and there we go. Brazil is just down and out.
That's an absolute sweep. They went uphill and just basically curved around Brazil. Manages to take them out, but eyes on the prize. China has heard all these shots kicking off. Korea, they're pushing Germany over on the opposing side of the hill. He finds Chris. The marksman's gone. We were speaking earlier about the grenades from Russia. You have to be careful. A doozy sent one. Will engage between them. Once this up and over. That's 3 players he's just taken down with 1 nade.
This is absolutely huge right now. Korea's trying to make their way up the hillside. There are, what, 6 teams within about 200 meters of this location?
Up and over. That's 3 players he's just taken down with 1 nade.
This is absolutely huge right now. Korea's trying to make their way up the hillside. There are, what, 6 teams within about 200 meters of this location?
Up and over. That's 3 players he's just taken down with 1 nade.
This is absolutely huge right now. Korea's trying to make their way up the hillside. There are, what, 6 teams within about 200 meters of this location?
Up and over.